Ed, what do you think? Yes, yes, you are the inside the Labra agenda.
Live
Today
and alive.
day of July 2021. But as always, we know we are to share it and build it, so I go start to share and build it on my side in the meantime.
Nice.
Chef, where are you sharing it to right now? Where you want to share it to?
So the library agenda page, my personal page, you could share and you know you're from library and others.
Okay. You mean go and share to the Labra agenda group?
Group, yeah, group, sorry.
Right. Oh, there's the brother David right there, man.
Sir,
Right, brother David, good to see you, man.
good to see you too.
How
Yes,
you hearing? You hearing us clear, loud and clear?
Yeah, I'm hearing clearly. Are you hearing me clearly?
Great, coming through loud and clear, man.
All right, okay.
In the meantime, in between time, you know, we want to start off the show by paying a little homage to the late great brother Resistance. So, you know, we're gonna touch on something in the meantime.
Yeah.
Just a while the bill people log on, you know.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, now. Um share screen, right?
All right. I've seen two people in. You all know the order. As you come in, leave a comment. Let us know we coming across. The audio is clear, the visuals are clear. Don't forget to share your screen, Callum.
So what I'm trying to do right now, video file. I'm not getting to come up, you know. I'm not doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Share screen, clicking on it.
Yeah. Not video file, let's share screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. So I click on it. Entire screen window. But I ain't get to see share. Okay, you do it now.
All right, let me see if
Probably
I
doing
can pull it
something
up.
wrong.
If I can pull it up quick.
So I'm gonna pause the video in the meantime.
Nice.
All right. I did it before. I don't know what I'm doing wrong this time. Folks, don't forget, share the light, share the love, you know. Believe that we always say.
All right, let me see if I could get a share here.
So I share into, you know, it's not from library right now. Posting, nice. And I share into my page now.
Right,
Posting,
going
right.
ahead.
Go ahead. Touch your volume there, chef.
Roger that.
And I hear any video though, chef.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not hearing this either.
Something about tonight, boy. I'm gonna try again.
Yeah, I know.
Like tonight isn't the night for that.
Ah, correct.
But don't worry. We could go ahead. So let's start. But Mohammed, we lost your image though.
No. I'm right here. I'm just making an adjustment.
Okay, nothing wrong. As soon as they come up, we just get started. Right, so we there. So, good night, all. Welcome to the Library Agenda. Where library people talk, library business. So, you know, as always, before we start, we always say let's recognize something greater than ourselves because we recognize we live in a country where we have different beliefs, different religious followings, you know. So, if you're Islamic, if you're Christian, you know, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever, if you believe in the ancestors, as our friend Irana Islam reminds us, we recognize something great in ourselves. So we just ask you, as always, to have a moment of silence. Just bow your head back and recognize something bigger than ourselves. So if you join us. Yes, man.
Nice.
So let's get into it. So we want to say welcome to Brother David Mohammed, Dr. David Mohammed, to your library agenda, where library people talk library
Elaborate.
business, and we are so thankful you're so gracious to join us. But for those of you all who want to show what's going on, we want to play the ad to remind you of what we have, who and what we have tonight.
Greetings, beloved family. I am Brother David Muhammad, and I'm looking forward very much to being with my brother Callum Marshall on the Brea agenda this Thursday, July 15th, 2021. We have a lot of very important things to discuss, a lot of ideas to share, and some inspiration to spread. So join us on the Brea agenda this Thursday, July 15th. Stay positive, stay conscious.
Yeah, man. So
Lovely.
welcome once again to the library agenda, Brother David Mohammed.
Yes.
So, we always ask when we have a guest on to introduce yourself and tell the people who and what you are on your own words so people know who and what you are. So, the floor is yours, Brother David. Welcome to the Library Agenda and tell the people who you are.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to have the opportunity to share some thoughts. And I guess there's so many things that anyone could say about themselves, but I think I am first and foremost a brother. My entire adult life has been dedicated towards the education of African people. And when we say, or when I use the term education, I am referring to knowledge of that essential information that has been denied from us. The entire genocide and Holocaust against African people was perpetrated over the last 400 years, but the only reason that many of us today live under the same after effects of that evil enslavement, genocide, and Holocaust is because systems were put in place to keep our minds in bondage in the same way our bodies were in bondage. But when our bodies were in bondage, we used to engage in revolutionary rebellion to try to free our minds. But now that our minds are in bondage, we're not participating in any kind of rebellion or revolution against the system that keeps us mentally in chains. We are taught a system of information which is really training to prepare one for complicity and agreement with systems of oppression. So, freedom of thought in this day and time would entail the reversal of the process of mental enslavement. And there is a specific knowledge that is required for that. And that knowledge is a mind revolution. That knowledge would free us both mentally and physically. And so I've dedicated my life to that brand of freedom and liberation for African people, which is a fight against the greatest injustice that the world has known. And it is an ongoing battle. So systems were put in place back then, and you see the continuation of it today because those systems still remain erect. So I am, of course, the Eastern Caribbean representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. And I'm also the head and founder of the Black Agenda Project organization. And most recently, we acquired 6 years ago, in fact, 3/4 of an acre of land from the state in Success Laventille. And our organization constructed a 6,000 square foot building in Success Laventille, which we named in honor of one of our greatest freedom fighters who has ever lived, Brother Kwame Ture, formerly known as Stokely Carmichael. And as it stands now, we run a series of educational programs, lectures, training, workshop seminars, a number of educational programs. We do free CSEC or CXC subjects. And we're ongoing, full-time, fully operational organization that is not funded by the government or by any business, but just by our consciousness and what we raise from being in the struggle. So that is what we were yesterday. This is what we were today. And this is what we intend to be tomorrow, except we want to pass the baton on to our younger generation who will continue to participate in the struggle and take it so much further than we would have taken it. We are just the springboard launch of this operation, but it's something that we must pass on to the next generation. And I'm so happy to say, finally, that most of the students at the Kwame Ture Center are between the ages of 17 and 25. In my earlier years in this work, because I started when I was 22, I was always speaking to people older than me. In all of the audiences that I have addressed, I was always surrounded by persons much older than me. You know, I mean, sharing this kind of information at 23, 24, 25 years old. And the average person in my audience might have been 35, 40, 45 years old. But now that I am older, it's comforting to know that maybe even the majority of our audiences now are much, much, much younger. So this gives us hope for the future and inspiration to continue on in the struggle. So I'm honored to be here this evening to have the opportunity, as I said, to share some thoughts with you.
Well, first of all, we want to congratulate you guys here at the Labra Agenda for you guys' success in acquiring that state land to further push your guys' mission, your plan, and through the Kwame Ture Center. Before we get into, because when you were speaking, you made mention of the systems of oppression and what you consider outside of the physical slavery into the mental and systematic oppression we have now. Because I would like to get into that a little more, because some of the audience will be listening, in fact, all of them, and they will have an idea and their own opinions. But as you as a learning person with an opinion, would like to specify what you recognize as those systems. I would like to let you know of the battles we will have discussions in private. That, as you see by myself and my co-host T-shirts, we fashioned the name of our show after your show, the Black Agenda, with the Labra Agenda. So we want to thank you for that inspiration of the bat. Whereas you will say that your mission with the Black Agenda is to work African awareness and development of the African people to go forward. Our mission in Labra Agenda here is awareness of lobby of our community and to drive our community forward. So we want to say that we appreciate the work you're doing, and you have been an exemplar. Continue doing your work to us and many others around the world. I myself and my co-host were speaking. We saying we have one of the top intellects and speakers in the Southern Hemisphere coming on the show tonight. We are honored. So. But we have an interactive audience, so we want to take in some of the comments because people have been chiming in and they're giving the comments. So let's take it from the top. We have Tamara Sullivan was first on the scene tonight. She said good night, Labria, and our guest, Dr. David Mohammed. So Tamara Sullivan saying good night to you.
Yes, good night,
we have
Tamara.
Makeda Ofulmi saying good night, guys. Good night, Makeda. We have this guy, Kevin Chef Williams, saying share the live, share the love. As my co-host there. Tamara let us know she shared it. Kevin saying thanks. We have Janelle Carlo Francis on the inside saying good night, everyone. We have one Richard Antoine, one of our locals. He's saying good night, Brother Mohammed.
Blessings. Good night.
He's also saying good night, Labry. We have a celebrity on the inside, our local queen of jazz, one at Bigford, one of our community activists saying Arich.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Lovely.
she's always on the show. She has done a couple of episodes, and she's one of our biggest fans and contributors.
She's magnificent.
We have Nell saying, "I like how you are speaking about passing things on to the next generation. I grew up listening to you on the radio because of my father used to listen to you and your show, The Black Agenda.
What
That is
how
Nelson.
old is that person?
Well, I am very careful to call women's age in public,
Oh,
I
it's a
don't take that
woman. No,
chance.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize. No, sorry. So it's okay.
You might be
But
braver than me.
I kind of tend to react when people say they grew up listening to me. It kind of rings some alarm bells for me. And interestingly, the last time I spoke in La Brea, at the La Brea Community Center, it I think it would have been in 2018 or 2019. And at the end of the lecture, a brother stood up and he said that, right? He said, I grew up listening to you on the radio. And this brother looked, I thought he was at least 5 or 10 years older than me. And it felt kind of awkward, we had a laugh about it and so on. But, I guess I'm at the stage in my life where I'm being, rebounded with those kinds of remarks. I mean, I know a lot of adults now as well who I taught in school as children. I remember when that first started to happen. But I had children in my class, age 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, who are now, fully grown adults and, would reminisce. So I guess it's a stage that I'm preparing for, but it's an honor. It's always an honor. Yeah.
Well, funny enough, as they said that after Nell Bourgeois said she grew up listening to you, right after Tamara Solomon said, me too. So,
Oh my goodness.
a lot of
That's
people grew
right.
up listening to you, and the phrase grew up, it does not
Hmm.
necessarily mean to say age, because sometimes
Yeah.
someone may have a growth of consciousness. And I would say for myself, from listening to you, the first time I heard you speak was in like early 2000 and let's say 12, somewhere like that, around that. I also heard you speak on the base in Trinma. You were invited by the brothers to the
Oh,
Emancipation celebration, and
right.
you spoke
Yeah.
on the base, and then later the evening you spoke in the Christian club, and I was
Mm,
spellbound. When I heard your
mm,
point of views and stuff like that, I was like, who's this brother? you know.
mm.
And
Yeah,
then, and then I saw your books and stuff like that. You had some of your books on display. I browsed through some of them. So in this space, it doesn't necessarily mean age alone, but once again, I'm saying I am wise enough not to make a guess at the young lady's age. She's 18 years old, and that's what we're sticking with.
if I,
you know,
All right.
if I could chime in here, Callum, as you
for
mentioned
sure.
that talk on the base, one thing stuck with me that day, boy. I remember him saying clearly, you come to work every day, you put in your 40 hours to
Mm-hmm.
make just enough money, to buy just enough bread, to pay
Mm-hmm.
just enough rent, to have
Mm-hmm.
just enough recreation, to do it again the next day or the next
That's
week. And I
right.
was like, mind blown. That was a real eye opener. I was like, what is this?
Hmm.
What rat race is this we are living in? So
Right.
yeah. So
I had the funny thing about it. I forgot about that part of the lecture. But you remember a couple
Yeah.
of days ago we were on the phone as we usually, and we were talking about the exact same thing
Hmm.
about the
exactly.
frustration of the system right now and what's going on. That
Hmm.
we are slaves to the system. And I
Hmm.
want to be clear, folks. I'm not knocking any government. Let's be clear on that.
Hmm. Hmm.
We're talking about life itself and the quote unquote the rat race we all run, trying to
Yeah.
work for somebody or work for ourselves. And we just seem
Yes.
to be working for other people in terms of you work for the grocery, you work for the gas
Yeah.
station, you're working for the mortgage or rent, the banks. And when you're done, you don't seem to have much for yourself. So,
Hmm.
it's that. Let's take a couple more comments because the comments are not as long tonight, so
Hmm.
that I want to get through them before the load come in. We have Miss Betty Jeremiah saying, good night, Larry. I'm here. Yes, good night, Betty. Talking about that, where's Ding and Dwayne? We have
Well,
some of the executive producers on the inside. That story.
warning letter.
More letter for them, the lead. We have the Guyanese International
One
inside.
left.
Good evening, gentlemen. This is Melly Tobias, all the way from Guyana.
Oh, lovely, lovely,
We have
lovely,
the man.
lovely.
Well, I'll tell you something about Labrio. You see certain names, but we don't go by names and government names and lab. We go by a nickname, and this is Nomi on the inside. Let's say good night to each and every one. Well, from the executive producer saying welcome everyone, share the live, share the love. We have Miss Bigfoot saying I have so much respect for this guy. We have Mr. Bias saying from Guyana saying always here for the interesting topics. Love in the house. Yes, we tell the love to your mom. Hey, we have another celebrity inside, Mr. Linda McClashy boy in the building.
In the building.
Look, normally let us know you
All
share
right.
the tactic more.
Can you hear me clearly?
Sure, we hear you all the time. We are hearing you. Are you hearing us? I think he's having a technical difficulty there. No, go ahead.
We are hearing you.
We are hearing you.
All right, right. So the audio was just slowed right down. I'm sorry about that. A call just came in. So I just put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
All right.
Yes, we just have the same issues when we get calls.
Okay.
we do it.
One person's microphone is sounding like very, very deep. But let's proceed.
That's me. That's me. I'm speaking up. So I can do my voice a little bit.
Jeez.
How's that? Are you hearing us?
Okay,
like we having some technical.
There's a bit of an audio problem.
Not on our end though. We are hearing loud and clear, and we don't seem to have any audio problems. Chef, how you coming on your end?
You know, I think I'll have to log out and log back in.
Okay, we'll be right here. No problem.
All right, so I'm hearing you clearly.
Yes.
Yeah, we are here. How about me?
All right, I heard that clearly.
I think we're good to go.
So far.
Okay.
I think we're good to go.
No.
Yes.
Again, it sounds like Darth Vader.
No, that's the network actually.
Okay, no, I'll have to log out and log back in. Okay, I'll
problem.
log right back in.
No problem. Well, folks, that's live TV for you. You know, we have those issues.
But yeah. I did see B-Mobile TSTT sent out a bulletin saying that there was some damage to fiber optic cable somewhere in the vicinity of Guadeloupe, somewhere there. So repair work is being done, but they did say you could expect some disruption in service.
Well, no need to ask what network he's on. Let's see, we get him back here now. He's loading back up. Okay, we got you again. How are we coming through this time?
Perfect.
Yeah, we were just saying before
we on Do Not Disturb at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, we also quite aware of that TST is doing some work on working on the fiber optic line, so that could also be part of the issue.
Probably.
And this is live, as we say.
Working.
Yeah, as we say, this is live TV, so it goes. So going back to our topic, you know, some people may ask the question, well, how are you? What training, what pass, what qualifications you have to make an expert on the topic you speak about? You know, I'm going through your bio for myself, and I was quite impressed with the part and your education background, your training and you're interested in different jobs you've ever done. So could you go through some of that with us for the audience to let them know? You know,
first and foremost, above and beyond everything else, I am a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I am a member and representative of the Nation of Islam, which was responsible for a number of great pioneers in Black consciousness, such as Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Muhammad Ali, and of course, had inspired many other greats, such as Kwame Ture and the Black Panthers. I am a believer in and a follower of the Holy Quran, the book of scripture of the Muslims, revealed by Allah to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. But I don't just take this book as one of religious guidance, but also as a textbook guide for social justice, family life, business, law, and governance in society, in addition to spirituality. And I believe that the consistency of the message of the Holy Quran can provide a solution to just about every social problem that any human society could possibly experience. So that is where my higher learning comes from. My lower learning, though, of course, I'm a doctorate in sociology from the University of the West Indies, where I acquired my PhD, and I also have a bachelor's degree in sociology and education. I've been a school teacher for about 20 years of my life. I still am, really. I'm still a lecturer at the University of the West Indies School of Business and Applied Arts, known as UE Roy Tech, and also Cipriani Labour College. And that's what I do. I mean, I'm a teacher, whether I'm working or not. That's my nature. I'm a teacher, and I guess I'll be that until my last days.
Okay, nice man. Because I was looking at also at are you an author? You know, could you tell us
Yes.
about the book you wrote, the Black Studies anthology?
Yeah. So in 2003, I compiled the Black Studies anthology, which was really, yes, okay, that's very true. So Black Studies, Black Book Mind Revolution, was a encyclopedia approach to mandatory Black consciousness, starting off with ideology from 6 basic strands, which were Pan-Africanism from C.L.R. James, Henry Sylvester Williams, and George Padmore, then Black nationalism, the teachings of Marcus Garvey and Martin Delany, to the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, and Minister Louis Farrakhan. Then the civil rights philosophies of Dr. Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, W.E.B. Du Bois. Then the Black revolutionary perspective of Kwame Ture, the Black Panthers, Huey P. Newton, Eldridge Cleaver, Bobby Seale, Mark Clark, Fred Hampton. And then 6 was the Rastafarianism philosophy of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie. And when we combine those 6 strands of ideology, we come up with somewhat of a roadmap to be able to confront all of the institutional issues within the Black community. And so that is chapter 1 of my book, Black Studies, which deals with that, the ideology, the philosophy, the thinking of the great leaders and teachers and scholars and historians who went before and who laid a foundation of consciousness for us. And then chapter 2 in the book looked at racism and all of its different forms, from bigotry, intolerance, xenophobia, ethnocentrism, stratification, segregation, and institutionalized racism, and how it affects systems in every single society, every single continent across the planet. As a matter of fact, in England right now, as we speak, racism is the #1 topic of discussion because of what happened in England. First of all, getting to the furthest they've ever gotten in 55 years in football. And then they lost in the Euro finals to Italy. And of course, 3 Black men missed their penalties. And that was followed by a barrage of racist abuse from all across England. And this is after hundreds of millions of dollars were invested in the Stamp Out Racism campaign, the No Room for Racism campaign, the Let's End Racism in Football campaign, to the Black Lives Matter movement, all the players taking a knee, every single team in the Premiership from Manchester United, Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham, Aston Villa, Newcastle, all of them agreeing to take a knee in support of the Black Lives Matter objectives. And to think that after all of that, some Black players miss a penalty after they got their team so far, further than the team has ever gotten since 1955. And after all that, they were still the victims of all this racist abuse. But Black Studies also features chapters on Black psychology, Black sociology, Black economics, politics, religion, and of course, some African history, among other topics.
Wow, you're giving us such a wide broad stroke of this whole situation. So let's tap your brains, because we brought you here to share some knowledge. Well, you have a pretty wide knowledge and understanding of the geopolitical ethnic situation in Trinidad and Tobago, and primarily communities like our own in Brea. If you had to offer our opinion, like a roadmap to communities like ourselves to move forward, what would be your word of advice, to offer like a roadmap in community development?
But generically, if I had to answer that in one word, I would say unity. But if I had to answer that question in two words, I would say mobilization and organization. And it was the great Kwame Ture who said that we must be organized. And he actually died saying three words: organize, organize, organize. Say, but sometimes we are happy with mobilization, but mobilization without organization will not achieve our long term objectives. So, mobilization is when we react to an issue. This brother lost his job. That sister was unlawfully arrested. This community was neglected by their politicians. So we mobilize over those isolated events. But when we organize, we remain perpetually prepared to confront any challenge that faces us without us having to scramble the forces or assemble the troops. So if we're in a state of organization within the community, that means we're thinking collectively and not just as individuals, so that it's not only when we're in an emergency crisis situation do we react. Take, for example, imagine a poor community, and I have heard over the years persons making reference to La Brea as a poor community, and I've heard this analogy over the years in comparison to Laventille, where it is said that Laventille is a poor community with a high crime rate, but La Brea is also a poor community with a low crime rate. Okay. But let's look at any poor community, and all of that is debatable, I'm aware. But let's look at a poor community. Kwame Ture spoke of a process that he referred to as ghettoization. And ghettoization was what he called domestic colonialism, whereby before the independence era, we were a colony. So all the resources of our state, the wealth that we possess, the human resources that were working, and the mineral wealth that they extracted all belonged to England because we were a colony. Now that we're free and independent, all of our resources, our wealth, our minerals, our human capital, it now all belongs to us because we're free, we're independent. But Kwame Ture said there is now a domestic colonialism, where the same way that we as a country were a colony to the empire, inside this country that is free, we as a community or a neighborhood or a residential space are now a colony to the wealthy, elite, bourgeoisie, ruling class 1% inside the same country. So a system is set up where a minority is in ownership and control of the means and forces of production. That's classic Marxism. But think about this for a moment here. Capitalism in general, under our current economic system, tends to place the wealth in the hands of a minority. So the top 1% own and control 35% of the economy. The next 19% own and control 50% of the economy. And the bottom 80% or 15% have to fight up with the remaining. So the remaining 15% of the economy is fought for among 80% of the people. So let's look at it. The top 1% control 35% of the economy. The next 19% control 50% of the economy. But the bottom 80%, that's the majority of the people. That's almost every single poor person and more. The bottom 80% have to fight up with 15% of the economy. Now, let's look at this analogy from the point of view of 100 people in a room with 100 boxes of food. And one person in the room gets up and leaves with 35 boxes of food. So there are 99 people left in the room with 65 boxes of food. Now, that could work because everyone will have to either share half, get half of a box, or some will get a whole box, others will get half. At least something could work out. But then the upper middle class, or the next 19%, leave the room with 50 boxes of food. So when you combine the top 1% with the next 19%, you have the top 20% with 85% of the economy. All right, let's look at what's left. 80% of the people having to share 15% of the economy. You think of 80 people in a room who have been kept starving, and they have to share up 15 boxes of food. That is a snapshot picture of our current capitalist economy. But what's going to happen? There's going to be violence. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be hostility. There's going to be confrontation. They will have to be policed. There might even be bloodshed. And that is why within the society today, you have to build all of these prisons. And you have prison spaces that are catered to hold 600 men, that have up to 2,500 men, jail cells that are designed to hold 2 or 4 men with as much as 13 or 14 men, all because of unequal distribution of the wealth and the resources within the society and the rape of the economy by an elite 1%. That's not just Trinidad. That's anywhere on planet Earth where that system of capitalism exists, and you have an education system that justifies the oppression of the masses of the people, so that the children who go to school and experience that partial brainwashing experience now come out of the education system prepared to conform to oppression, to even applaud exploitation if it comes from the political party that they support. They have surrendered themselves against involving themselves in any rebellion to bring about change. So the solution comes in unity, organization, and mobilization. Imagine if in a poor community, you have 1,000 poor people who each grow $1,000 worth of food in a 1-year period. That is $1 million in added food security in the economy of the community. Remember, the people in poor areas are being told by the politicians, we have no money. We have no money for you. But that same $1 million is written off in taxes by 3 motor vehicle purchases by politicians on either side of the political divide. But 1,000 poor people who grow $1,000 worth of food in a community in 1 year with that $1 million of added food security, that's $1 million less in petty street crimes, robberies, and house break-ins. It's also $1 million less in money that has to go to bailing someone out of jail or on other kinds of security, because part of our problem is we have never really put the word food and the word security in the same sentence. After World War II, in Europe, the people were encouraged to build and create and establish victory gardens. Again, we don't really put the word victory in the same sentence as the word garden. But if we can grow our own food and establish our own food supply, and because everyone cannot grow everything, we establish a food network. And then, in addition to just the food, we establish a skills bank and think tank. Last analogy I'll give on this, just the last thing. Imagine in the poorest part.
You go ahead, man. You go ahead, man. You are the floor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Imagine in the poorest part, again, of a poor community. You have two next door neighbors. One is a plumber, one is an electrician. Both very poor. And one day, they wake up, the plumber has an electrical problem in his home, and the electrician has a plumbing problem in his home. But both of them work for a boss down in the West. So when they get to work, the boss down in the West sends the electrician to the plumber's home, and he sends the plumber to the electrician's home. Each of them fix the problem, do the job. They charge $400, leave and go back to the boss. They give the boss the $400 each, and he pays each of them $100 each. And they have to take that $100 back home and do some serious mathematical calculations to figure out how they're going to pay the electricity bill, the phone bill, the cable, the internet, how they're going to buy food, and after all of that, pay rent. Meanwhile, the boss just made $600 when he has no knowledge whatsoever of neither electrical work nor plumbing, but he got two black men who were next door neighbors to work for him when they could have pooled their resources, united, combined their strengths, and formed their own company. But not just an electrician and a plumber, but also a carpenter, a mason, and a mechanic. And then what about the lawyer who lives in the community, or the school teacher who lives in the community? Or what about the young person who just graduated from university in skills in business administration and supervision and human resource management? You see, the human resources, the skills, the talents, the abilities, and all these different occupations and professions preside in our communities. But every day we leave our communities one by one and diversify our own skills and talents by supplying them to other peoples, when we could have reconnected with one another, pooled those resources, and established the kind of economic strength that we need. So I would advise La Brea as a community, or any other community for that matter, to first unite in spite of differences. See, our slave masters were really successful in dividing us by religion. No, they're Muslims, you're Christians. No, you shouldn't deal with them. Or they are dark skinned, you are light skinned. Or Octrun or Quadroon or Metsi, Kotsi, Sambo or Mulatto. They knew well how to divide us. You are from this side of town or that side. Black people are the only people who see reasons to be enemies with each other that are so superficial, basic, ignorant, baseless. But our enemies did a good job. So we have to unite first, and then mobilize, and then organize. And we would be surprised when we're confronted with the reality that all of the solutions to all of our problems are in our own hands. Those are my thoughts on that.
Wow, you gave us I can't say a mouthful, a mindful there to consider on this topic, and what is comforting all these we in La Brea would have had these same discussions, and this is my humble opinion that what you are speaking about there is the climate or the practice which we should get to, but it is not normally in our culture or we were raised, because what you are speaking about there is a mindset, which is not easily adopted. So I want to, tell you, this is why we have programs like the La Brea Agenda, and we have a gentleman named Quincy Joseph who's doing amazing work with no you step behind with the kids, the youths, and get them to think in this collective way, and we have a lot of other programs that are in the community who are trying. We'll never be done with the work, but we are trying. Also, we have the CDC, the Community Development Committee, who will be led by Renrick Campbell, who are doing human service in trying to mobilize and organize our resources. Because last year, when I contested the parliamentary representative seat in the general election, one of the platforms I stood on is trying to return the economic wealth of Lobby back to Lobby. And I was saying the way forward is through our local contractors, because I recognize Lobby does have wealth. They does have resources through our things like our industrial estate, and we have a lot of different projects which would happen throughout the constituency. Police stations being built, hospital recently was built in Point Fortin, our neighboring constituency. But when you look, our local contractors, they didn't actually get the job, so the wealth was leaving our economy and going to another community. So my drive was to mobilize and educate and prepare our local contractors to position themselves, because in fairness, the whole process. For what different reasons, we get into it. Some of the contractors were not in position to take advantage or even to do these projects. So we drive to get our contractors, and I want to give a shout out to the Lobby Board of Trade and Industry, led by Mr. Bun Wharton and her daughter Latosha, and Labracket. They are doing a fantastic job at this point in time and trying to mobilize, educate our local contractors to position themselves. So when, even if they can't take up the brunt of the contract, they can still, at some point in time, because we have different contractors of different sizes, large, medium, and small, to at least access these economic opportunities. Because simply put, when a contractor in Lobby gets a job, when he gets his money, he spends his money in Lobby. And also going towards, not everybody can be a contractor, so we're looking at our youths. We have plans by the government that they want to build a shipbuilding complex in Lobby. What we're pushing hard for now is to us to know at a timely fashion what are the jobs, the expected qualification, expected expertise which will be needed at shipbuilding complex, so we can get our locals prepared, trained, so when the jobs come up, we are in a position to pick up those jobs. So whatever economic activities have happening in the Lobby through the shipbuilding complex, the residents get a job. So whatever financial benefits come, they come back into the community. And this is what our platform and our way I see where we can get a return of the economic product that Lobby produces, because I am of the opinion we produce greatly to the national coffers, because we have, of course, Labibgo, Lake Asphalt, oil and gas, and let's talk about Lobby itself. We talk about the constituency, all the way down to Palaseco, where we have the tank farms, everything, So we are to find our way to get that economic activity which is happening in Lobby, which I think far too big a percentage is leaving Lobby and not returning. And I'm not going to knock no government at this point in time about it. I'm going to say we as a people need to position ourselves to harness that, and this goes a long way in building our community. Chef, you want to chime in? You're muted, Chef. Let me come up there. Unmute, Chef.
Now, I remember as I was telling you before the show, just listening to Dr. Mohammed, you just want to sit down and take it in. I felt the same way just now when you were speaking, but I just wanted to run back and take it in. But Dr. Mohammed, hearing you speak there a while ago, it brings me back to Anthony Bourdain and that episode, that infamous episode where we heard the speakers of one of our communities say, that buffer class, as he put it. Yeah, and the concern that they have if that buffer class should be eroded. And I just want to jump forward to 2021 now with this lockdown and COVID and this global pandemic that we're going through, and what we're seeing happening with businesses and people losing jobs, etc. Right, and it just takes me back to that. What's your position on that, or what's your thoughts on that in terms of what this has done to that quote-unquote buffer class?
Well, this is not the first time that the term buffer has been used in that context in our history. Professor Tony Martin used to highlight the fact that under British slavery, when slavery was coming to an end and the colonial era was about to begin, there was a revolutionary spirit among the people. I mean, we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago on Carnival, and that Carnival was really a manifestation of revolutionary celebrations. And the British knew that if they were going to free us and then coexist with us in the same societies, that we would be in direct contact with them, and they needed some other force to have the blame directed to. So all of our anger, rage, and pain from slavery and early days of colonialism, the British needed someone else that we could point a finger at. And this is why after the very self-same uprisings in Faizabad in 1937 and the many others that took place across the Caribbean in the 1930s, that we felt, okay, so these are the conditions, it's 100 years up from slavery, we have to rebel. So there were rebellions in Bridgetown, Barbados. They pushed cars into the sea. In Kingstown, St. Vincent, they broke all the windows on the courthouses. In Castries, St. Lucia, in Bassiter, St. Kitts, workers went on strike. In a lot of these places, in Jamaica, Trelawney, parts of Kingston, St. Anne's, workers down tools, protested, rioted. White police came, shot into the crowds. So meanwhile, in Trinidad, here we are in Faizabad. And after all of those uprisings, the British had a commission of inquiry. Anytime, last night I did a presentation on the situation in Haiti and made point, anytime Black people have a revolution, white people have a commission of inquiry. And after all these uprisings in Trinidad and all over the Caribbean in the mid-1930s, they had the Moyne Commission. Their investigations were very heavily centered around South Trinidad. And the Moyne Commission was concerned with how can we stop these riots, rebellions, and revolutions from taking place? What can we do to prevent a reoccurrence of this? And one of their main conclusions was that if we let them vote, because this was before full adult suffrage, we couldn't vote. If we let them vote and, in words, put Black faces in political positions of authority, then when they get upset with the systems of oppression, then they won't be venting their rage on us, but they will do it on their own Black politicians whom they elected into office, who they will now see as the source of the problem. So said, so done. The politicians were the buffer class. So the colonial authorities were protected from the poor because the Black politician was in the middle as one to absorb the blame and to be the target of the anger. Likewise, if we study the beginning of the Trinidad Working Men's Association in the late 19-teens and early 1920s, the British felt that East Indian indentured labor would be a buffer between the recently freed Africans and the colonial office in the same way that the Black politician was. So the Trinidad Working Men's Association, one of the earlier causes, was the fact that East Indians were coming in and taking jobs that were due to Black people. It's similar to the reaction of some segments of our community to the Venezuelan situation today. If locals are unemployed and Venezuelans are being given jobs, then there will be some rage targeted towards the Venezuelans, but not towards the employer. And that is how that buffer group science has been used. But it goes right back to the idea of organization within our own communities. Because I can assure you that right now, with Trinidad and Tobago having a population of 1.4 million people, and we have 39 electoral districts on the island of Trinidad, with 2 in Tobago. And on the island of Trinidad, if you draw a north-south axis across the middle of the island, you have 35 electoral districts on the western half and only 4 electoral districts on the eastern half. It's inevitable, and we're talking about a long, long way into the future, maybe as much as 100 years or so. It's inevitable that the eastern half of the island would be developed sooner or later. Now, if we have, as some estimate, as much as 100,000 Venezuelans in Trinidad, well, obviously soon they're going to start opening businesses, and they will support each other in business. And that is the right thing for them to do. The Guardian newspaper is already printing a full Spanish version, and they're going to have children who will be citizens of Trinidad and Tobago just as much as you and I are. They will grow up, they'll be educated. It won't be too long before they have maybe a special secondary school and even a primary school for the Venezuelan children, which they will go to. The education will be geared and targeted towards their development based on their past experiences, and they will graduate and they'll do well. And those graduate out of the secondary schools are likely to go to university, and they'll get skills and qualifications and certificates and degrees. And then they'll purchase property and build more property and establish more businesses and support their businesses. And when it gets to the point that enough of them are citizens and enough of them live in one area, one of them will go up for election. And they will vote for the one among them who goes up for the elections. And they'll be right to do that if he is representing their interests. And when he does win, maybe he will build another school, another primary school, another secondary school, and maybe even a university for Latin-speaking people in Trinidad. I hope we understand the point that I'm getting to. Everyone else sees about their own interests, right? Except us. Now, recently I was talking about the difference between Tobagonians and Trinidadians of African descent. And we made the point, well, first of all, the history, because Tobago had 4 successful slave revolutions in 1770, 1771, 1704, and in 1801. 4 successful slave revolutions. One of them lasted for months in multiple different locations. The level of communication between all these plantations was unbelievable, so highly organized and efficient. Trinidad had no successful slave revolutions in our whole history, none. While Trinidad changed hands during colonialism 3 times. So the indigenous people were here, the Spanish came and took over as one. Then in 1797, the British took over. And then in 1962, it became independent. Trinidad and Tobago changed hands 3 times. But Tobago changed hands 33 times. And a lot of those times where the political administration or authority of the island was changed between the Spanish or the French or the Dutch or the British, many of those occasions involved a brutal fight, major uprisings. Trinidad, we were sitting by as spectators, watching the whole thing take place in our country. And then this leads us now to a certain kind of pride that African people in Tobago have. There are multiple differences, but the only one that you see, or the main one that you see today, is that African people in Trinidad somehow feel that they have to validate themselves, their projects, their missions, their businesses, their exploits. that we have to validate ourselves by our involvement with other races. So you're more likely to hear a Trinidadian saying about a project that he's involved in order to boost its profile. We have Chinese, and we have some Indians, and we have some Syrians involved, and we have some French Creoles. We have all races. So the subtle, subliminal, subconscious statement, a declaration that he's making is, our project is better because it's not only Black people. You hear parroting out of our mouths, look at our carnival. We had an event, look at our office. We have whites, we have Syrians, yes, and we have Chinese. Another thing you hear Trinidadian people saying a lot, Trinidadian Africans, that you don't hear Tobagonian Africans saying, is just before we give an opinion about any matter pertaining to race and ethnicity, we predicate it by saying, I'm not racist, but, and then we give an opinion. I'm not racist, but, then we give another opinion. I'm not racist, but. So if we're going to talk about, for example, oppression of some Black people, we would say, I don't like how they're treating those Black people. I find when you go to the Syrian workplace, they disrespect the Black woman. Say, but I'm not racist, I'm not racist, but I find I don't like how they treat the workers. Or if it's in law, the way the Indian prison officers treat the Black prisoners. I'm not racist, I'm not racist, but. So what we're doing, again, subconsciously, subliminally, internally, we are apologizing for being Black conscious. And the only way we could liberate ourselves out of this kind of situation is by being Black conscious. Let me tell you something that you may or may not know. Marcus Garvey, in the early 1900s, in New York, born in Jamaica. Marcus Garvey here is in New York, building his organization, the UNIA. And he made friends with a young man from Vietnam who was working in a restaurant, different restaurants, washing dishes, doing cleaning, and so on. And this young brother from Vietnam became a friend of Marcus Garvey, used to attend Marcus Garvey's lectures and listen. Remember, Marcus Garvey had the race-first philosophy, because our oppression, our victimization, the exploitation of us, and the enslavement of us was because of our race. So he said, we have to find solutions around our race. So he said, race first. This man from Vietnam used to come and listen to Marcus Garvey talk about how Black people can solve their problems. Let me fast forward the story by 50 years. 50 years later, that man from Vietnam is written in history as the only leader of any country ever to beat America in a war. That man was Ho Chi Minh of Vietnam. And he used to listen to Marcus Garvey. And let me add some flavor to that story, because when our own Trinidad and Tobago's own Kwame Ture, formerly known as Stokely Carmichael, visited Ho Chi Minh in 1975 in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh, elder man now. Listen, do you know that America, not only did they lose the Vietnam War, but when they ran, they left so much equipment back in Vietnam that they made Vietnam the fourth most well-equipped army in the world. Just with what they ran and left behind. And you see, it wasn't a war between the American army and the Vietnamese army. No, the Vietnam War was a war between the American army and the Vietnamese people. It was the old lady walking with the cane, the old man who was the shopkeeper, the children who were students in schools, the doctors in the hospitals, the nurses, the lawyers in the courts, the bankers in the financial institutions. All of them as a people were involved. And in 1975, when Kwame Ture went to visit Ho Chi Minh, Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam, as an elder man then, he said to our own Kwame Ture, he said, you know what? He said, your people, African people, can only be liberated if they follow the teachings of my old friend, Marcus Garvey. Think about that. That's the man with the greatest war hero record, probably on planet Earth. He's telling Kwame Ture from Trinidad, only way your people could be free is if they follow the teachings of Marcus Garvey. So here we are in Trinidad, putting aside unity with ourselves as a secondary priority and our integration with everyone else as a primary objective. Meanwhile, the everyone else is seeing themselves. They're more following the philosophy of Marcus Garvey by uniting with themselves, empowering themselves, seeing themselves not as Trinidadians, but as a 1% clique, as the richest in the Caribbean, as those who are in control of the economy. And we think our salvation lies in trying to unite. Well, we have the Chinese, and we have the whites, and we have the Syrians, and we have. So in our minds, our solution is trying to latch on to all of them. That's fine. That's fine. But you know what is not fine? If I am living in a community, and in my community, we're backstabbing one another, dragging one another down, pulling one another back, living like crabs in a barrel, shooting and killing one another over border lines. And while our community is in that state, consumed by self-hatred, we're trying to unite with others. Hell no, that will not work. We'll just be running ourselves into more misery.
Well, as per usual, you have us spellbound with the people are chiming in here. Now, couple quick things. One, I knew I asked you to come on the show for an hour and we're going past the hour, but we can stay whole night. We have the time. This is our show, and people are here. It's up to you. If you have the time to spare to us, you know. So we'll
It's
go on
9 minutes past 9. We'll go up to 9:20. Is that okay?
We take it what we get.
All right.
Also, I want to touch on a question one of the guys asked earlier because we have an interactive show, you know. So this is Mr. Ronda Glasgow. Interesting fact, he ran for the general election last year with PP. You know, he's one of the more outspoken people in the community, and he asked a question when he was speaking, not on the we just spoke about the roadmap going forward. He made this comment respectfully. Adam Smith wrote over 200 years ago that the world is not a zero-sum game, quite eloquently in his book. The Wealth of Nations.
Yep.
Right.
It's called The Wealth of Nations, an inquiry into, go on.
Yeah, he said Milton Friedman also wrote in his famous book, Capitalism and Freedom, that nobody spends somebody else's money as carefully as he spends his own. This whole socialist, leftist, communist, not neo-marxistic way of thinking leaves economics completely out of the equation. And his question is this: what we should be doing is increasing productivity. So you heard what he was saying. Could you chime in on that? If you look at your screen, you see the comment up there, so you could see. You could read it
I'm
too.
seeing it written very, very, very tiny. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hope I read it out properly for you.
No, yeah, you did. So, well, thank you for the question, and I wish
That's
your
what the
brother
Glasgow PV representative for Lubbock.
right. Thank you, brother Glasgow. But increased production can always be a good thing. As a matter of fact, we can even say increased production is a great thing. But if your production output has been increased, but the labor within which to do so is being exploited, then it's of no benefit to you. Again, going back to a real situation of a modern workforce, a modern labor force. When someone works, they are only paid part of the value of their contribution towards the process of industrialization. So let's say I'm a worker at a factory. I go to work and I work all day long. I have just contributed $800 worth of labor to the industrialization process, to that particular business or firm or corporation or factory. So I work from 8 in the morning to 4 or 5 in the evening. I have contributed $800 worth of my labor, but I'm not going to be paid $800 in exchange for the $800 that I gave. Instead, I'm being paid $100. And the owner extracts $700 for himself. Okay? But remember, I am not the only worker in that factory. There are 99 others just like me who work all day, contribute $800 worth of labor to the company, and are paid $100 each. So if the owner makes $700 off one laborer and he has 100 laborers, that means he makes $70,000 in that one day. Meanwhile, everyone who works for him just got 100, but that's only Monday. All 100 of those workers go back to work on Tuesday. And again, they contribute $800 worth of labor to the industrialization process, but are only paid $100 in exchange for their contribution, and the owner extracts $700 each per person. So he makes another $70,000. And by the end of the week, all 100 of his workers have earned $500. But he has earned $350,000. And again, that's just Monday to Friday. Now, there will be times where they'll probably have a meeting or probably deputize the staff, the supervisors and managers to increase the output of each of those workers and to increase their production. So they may say, well, we produce 1,000 units every day in this factory, but we need to produce 1,200 units for the next 2 weeks because there's a scarcity or there's an increased demand or Christmas is coming up or something. And then you have to increase the production. And the boss says, and we will pay you a little more. So instead of just getting $100 a day, you will get $120 a day. But you see, the trick is the boss has already calculated the deduction in advance. So when he pays you overtime or when he gives you a bonus, he's simply giving back to you what you have already earned, but it is disguised in this system of motivation for rewards. So yeah, we could increase production. During slavery, we increased production. But who did it benefit? So fine, I understand that. But again, we have to organize and mobilize and unite and create these systems that can dismantle oppression so that we begin to benefit for ourselves. And at the Black Agenda Project organization, we establish a skills bank and a think tank. We have what is called the 9 ministries or the 9 action groups, which are health, agriculture, education, security, arts and culture, business, justice, information, and science and technology. And we have 9 simultaneous committees that each see about those 9 areas. Again, but from an organizational point of view, from a community point of view, and not just from an employee who's trying to get a salary or an increased wage. We have to take it up a level in order for us to truly reap the benefits and the fruits of our own labor. I hope that addresses that.
Oh, yeah, address it. Yeah, address it and a half. Without a doubt, I could say complaint for myself and Chef and the whole of Library. Ask this question to you. Oh, where you going? You get cut off there?
As an accident, you see him reaching for something on the phone and you press the wrong
He's
button.
look back on. There he is. There he is.
Yeah,
He's coming
yeah,
back
yeah.
on. He's trying to look back on. Let's give him a second to look back on there. Because I have a very important question to ask him, which should not be missed. Like he having some problem with his device because we seeing he's logging on, but
Yeah, you should come back up just now, man.
but in the meantime, folks, when Dr. Mohammed leaves, which is in the next couple of minutes, stay on, stay on, stay on. We have a couple things, 3 things that we need to launch and we need to share with you guys tonight, some upcoming projects by the Library Agenda. So stay with us, don't go anywhere. I see he drop off again, so he's going to try again. But in the meantime, well, I really wanted to run through some of the comments, but a lot of them are for Dr. Mohammed. So, oh, there he is. He's back.
Oh,
right.
gosh.
You are back.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Sorry
how
about
you are
that.
hearing us? How are you hearing us, sir?
Yes, hearing you clearly.
We know you. We realize you made a mistake. That's okay. So we was going to ask the million-dollar question, the one everybody in Library wants to know. When are you coming back on the Library Agenda?
As soon as the lockdown is on the Library Agenda, as next time I'm invited, hopefully within the next not too distant future. I look forward to being back on, and I also look forward to coming down to Library as well, because it's a very, very special place. It has been really the first part of the Southern Caribbean that has been identified as having any kind of economic value. And the pitch from Library has been legendary, with Buckingham Palace and Sir Walter Raleigh and the whole history. So it's a place that we need to appreciate as well. So hopefully very, very soon.
Well, I see your time running because I see the trying to get here. So what I want to do really quick is run through some of the comments because some have some messages for you, and then afterwards I'll allow you to say goodbye. Is fair enough?
Yep.
Okay, we have Daniel Chingwing saying good night, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Mohammed. We have Kevin George saying pleasant good night to all. We have Lennon McClashy commented on my comment when I say he's a celebrity. I'm humbled. We have another big one inside, James Gushard. He says, good night, Larry, guys, and listening inside. We have Aaron Nichols. He's saying, good night, gents, and assalamu alaikum to Dr. Mohammed, a true intellect and pioneer for African consciousness. This man is a legend in his own right. We have Renee Samuels on the inside. She's saying good night to the host, guest viewers. Dig on the inside saying good night. We have all the way from Pula Spirit. We have Brother Fuad Abubakar inside. He said, assalamu alaikum and blessings to the brothers.
Oh, man.
Walaikum
salam, Brother Fuad.
We had the commentator saying, ding late. Ding is answered, yes, I am late, not home, but I will listen tonight. She's always locked on. She's all the way in the United States. We have Renee Samuels calling one of our local commenters. Ghost Andrews coming. We have Rondell Glasgow, who answered this question before saying, Vijay Sudin, I think he was speaking about something else speaking about before. Tamara Sullivan is saying, Dwight Rodriguez coming murder. Renee Samuel saying, Labrea, we are black gold, rich in spirit and full of love. Tamara Sullivan says she's taking notes. Melita Bass screaming here in the background. We have Deval Bazi. She's one of our environmentalist from Brea, a highly educated young lady who is the future of trans everyone. I think the world with our project she has. She actually had was voted by a London university as one of the top environmental podcasts in the world. She's saying, I love the idea of the food network and the skills bank. We have Ina Sewell saying good night everyone. We have Ghost, there he is, right on point, saying he reach. Sonia Maxwell saying knowledge is power. Tamara Sullivan saying, I'm getting in a drive to do a farming network in the community. Means of hydroponic systems, plus we give Quincy on the seedling drive. What she's speaking about, we have a young man, Quincy Joseph, who runs an organization called No Use Left Behind, and they went around the country just before the major lockdown, and they were distributing seedlings around the country to promote environmental awareness and environmental growth around the country. It's an amazing job he was doing. Ghost Andrews was saying when you're speaking about the buffer class, he said it have no buffer class anymore. That's his opinion. Ghost is a very well learned and vocal guy. You know. He's also saying, Jed, when this man speaks, you can't help but stop and listen. And when Ghost saying something like that, it's a compliment. Trust me, brother Mohammed. We have Fuad Abubakar saying, if real people like Dr. Mohammed are not included in the plan of economic recovery out of COVID, we are going to have real problems in TNT. You know, we have Sonia Maxwell agreeing what you're saying. She's saying real talk. We have Jamel Pear. He is most likely going to be one of our, if not the next parliamentary representative for Loughborough. Very intelligent young man. He says straight up, he was agreeing with what you were saying. Aaron Nichols is saying, this man is so brilliant, eh? Let those who have ears to hear, let them hear. Preach, brother. We have Ms. Sutton saying, Dr. Mohammed levels of foresight is amazing. Couple more before we let you go. Let's see. Oh, that plenty. I thought boy goes, not so much. Right. Renee Samuel saying, Dr. Mohammed, this edifying discussion is warranted. Thank you. And as you said, Renee, you're gonna bring him back. Go saying, yeah, we are. We here, sorry. Miss Sewell saying, well said, Dr. Mohammed. Knowledge is the key to open our minds and to get seriously into history. We have Henry Edwards agreeing 100%. We have Renee Samuel saying increasing productivity should benefit all. Well, we had a discussion about the production increase and which direction it should go. Tamara Sullivan saying exploitation is everywhere. Well, she answered immediately. We have one of our local heroes, Fab Khalifa Philip, saying never look at overtime like that before. So you educated her. Miss Khalifa Philip, she's one of the ladies who would have inaugurated the beach cleanup in Loughborough. She's also an environmentalist and a community activist. She's saying she joined late, so I will stay. Thank you for staying on, Fab. We know you could have been anywhere where you choose to be with us. And as always, folks, this will be on Facebook on the page, and also you can go onto our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and you want to see the program for perpetuity on the YouTube channel. We have a friend on the inside also, Mr. Paulson Ford, saying, one who trades time for dollars is already trading at his deficit. If he or she aspires beyond that, should be at the best to be a temporary situation. Fair enough. Tamara saying, I hope you can hear from Dr. Mohammed again soon to impart more of his knowledge. Definitely, we are definitely going to have you back, Allah within, inshallah. The Valbazi is saying, what happens when the black man replaces the oppressor? That's another conversation for another time, because we know that will take until
it's happening now.
Renee saying,
it's happening right now.
Yeah, we spoke about that, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, but I know when we get into that, that's a real discussion, because we all have some strong point of view.
That's worries.
Renee saying, we're almost done with the comments. I will 5 more. Renee saying, the boss will never operate at a loss. Even when you are conditioned to believe that you are benefiting, you are simply receiving what was due. Okay. Well done. Well, good comment, Renee. Vernon Charles saying, good question, David Mohammed. Aaron is saying again, our community lacks personalities who can fill the role of mentors, who can be instrumental in initiating the much needed change of our mindset going forward. How do we package this information in a manner that is attractive to the young black male? Well, let me answer that question for you. Mr. Nichols, step up. As simple as that. You recognize the problem, let's be part of the solution. Well, make our appointment, come on in our agenda, and we're willing to hear your brother. We always appreciate your opinion, and we we have full confidence that you can effect that change.
Let me chime in in Aaron's defense. Aaron is the CEO of Los Gens Foundation for Men's Empowerment. So
Bring
yeah.
him
So
home.
he did step up. He did
Mm.
step up. Yeah, and he's doing the
Well,
job.
I
So
apologize, Aaron.
big up
No,
to Los
well
Gens
done, my
every
brother.
time.
All right, let me wrap up these comments quick. Um, Shelly Brown saying, so proud of you guys. Thanks, Shelly. Hey, look the man inside, boy. Quincy Joey Tenors, boy. Callum, you heard the big man talk about the pitch? Yes, but he's also the director of the museum on the pitch deck. This is the same guy we was talking about with no Yusuf behind. He's always locked in. Goes
Ah,
Andrew is saying, after the lockdown, we should have him down on a forum of our leaders and inspiring leaders. Well, okay, say no more. He said he'll be coming back. Fab Philip saying, I follow Dr. Mohammed on the YouTube and Facebook. Follow you guys. And the last one, from all the way from Guyana. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. So informative. You changed my perspective in an hour. Well, all work here is done. We can pack up the show, take off the light, or we change one person's perspective. We are successful. So, Dr.
mm,
Mohammed, on
mm.
behalf of the Labra Agenda, and my co-host Larry Bachman, Kevin Sheffield, we want to thank you so much for coming in the Labra Agenda, and we give an open invitation, which we intend to cash in on to return to the show soon. So, any closing comments before you leave us tonight and for another time? The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, there is one last concept I want to share. And first of all, I'm so grateful and humbled by all of the positive remarks. It means a lot to me. It has meant a lot to me over the years to receive that kind of encouragement and support, um, especially from my beloved brother Fuad Abu Bakr, who whose generosity was instrumental in us constructing the Kwame Ture Center. Um, but I want to leave us with one idea. Because sometimes when we talk about grand plans, about our unity, organization, and mobilization, we start off looking at the glass as half empty instead of half full. And we say to ourselves, well, we don't have the kind of resources. We don't have the money that we need. We don't have the startup capital. And we always dwell on what we don't have rather than what we do have. So I want to close us with this thought. It's a short story about a lady named Jenny who owned a small hotel. And one day, a tourist came to Jenny's hotel and said that he wanted to stay there for the night. But he wanted to see the rooms first. So he took $1,000, which was the cost of the nightly stay. He put it on the table, the front desk. Jenny told her assistant, take the tourist upstairs and show him the rooms. See if he likes it. The tourist went upstairs with Jenny's assistant. Jenny picked up that $1,000 and took it straight to her mechanic because her mechanic had fixed the car the week before. The bill was $1,000 and she did not pay him as yet. She owed him, so she cleared that debt. The mechanic took that same $1,000 and he gave it to his electrician because he had a wiring problem in his house. The electrician came a couple of days before, fixed the wiring. The bill was $1,000, but the mechanic didn't pay it as yet, so now he covered that debt. So the electrician was paid. The electrician took that same $1,000 and took it to the plumber because the electrician's pipes burst in his house. He needed to get it fixed. He called up the plumber. The plumber came over, fixed the situation, but he wasn't paid as yet. The electrician owed him, so now the electrician paid off the plumber. The plumber took that same $1,000 to a caterer because it was his wife's birthday just like today is my wife's birthday, and they had an event, and he was supposed to pay the caterer, but the caterer wasn't paid as yet. So the plumber went and paid off that $1,000. So now the caterer is paid. The caterer took that exact same $1,000 and took it right back to Jenny, because the caterer had an event at Jenny's hotel the week before. The rental fee was $1,000. The caterer didn't pay Jenny as yet, so she got the $1,000 in hand, went and paid Jenny. Jenny received the $1,000 and put it right back down on the table in the exact same spot that the tourist put it before he went upstairs. Now the tourist comes back downstairs and he tells Jenny, "I won't be staying at your hotel tonight." Jenny says, "No problem," picks up the $1,000 and hands it back to the tourist. Now, $5,000 was just spent in a very small internal economy. You can't tell me that the mechanic wasn't paid. The mechanic got his money. He was paid a full $1,000. The electrician got his money. He was paid in full $1,000. The plumber, he got his money too. He was paid in full. The caterer, she was paid in full $1,000. And Jenny was also paid in full by the caterer. Well, where's the money? $5,000 was just spent, but no one can show. That is the power of pooling resources. That is the power of forming a skills bank. That is the power of us uniting and organizing, where we create wealth out of our unity, and our unity is more valuable than their money. They use their money to extract our labor, keep us divided and fragmented, broken up as a deconstructed labor force. But the power is right in and among us. The wealth is there. So you go to any poor, broken, rundown ghetto, there is wealth in there, because the human resource is the most valuable resource. Once we organize ourselves properly, we will be able to extract that wealth out of us and then reinvest it and regenerate it, then watch it multiply and grow, as we have done all of these things for all other people except ourselves. Once again, I want to thank you all so much. Thank you for the opportunity, Brother Callum. And I really enjoyed the time spent with you. I invite yourself and your viewers to visit my Instagram page, instagram.com/Black Agenda Project, where we post a number of short videos trying to explain a lot of these concepts bit by bit. And I look forward to the next time that I'm with you all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for gracing us to be present. And as we say, we're going to hold you to that. We must. The people are going to return you to the LABRA agenda in the very, very near future, because we have just only scratched the surface on the wealth of inspiration and information you have just bestowed upon us. So I'm just going to repeat that here. There's the Black Agenda Project on Instagram, so that people can log in for who wants to more information. And you're still on 91.9, right?
Yes, in the morning, Saturday mornings, 91.9, from 7 to 9 o'clock, and Gael TV on Sunday nights and Tuesday nights.
Okay,
8
so
o'clock. And then I'm doing Facebook Live every Wednesday evening now at 8 o'clock.
Okay, so folks, we are seeing all different avenues we can get Brother Muhammad on. So, in the words of the Prophet, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi, my respected brother. Thanks for coming on the LABRA agenda.
Walaikum salam. Thank you.
I really just want them to tell us where we could get a copy. Oh, you go on, boy. Those who are interested, we'll find out. And we'll put the information up. Yeah. Where his books are available.
No, folks, don't log off status. I see all 6 people drop up already. Hold on. The show was so
now.
Elaborate time now. We were so captivating that we didn't really share some of his stuff we had planned to share in the middle of the show, but we couldn't break Dr. David Mohammed's conversation. Was amazing. So let's get straight into it. Now, we are proud here at the Library Agenda to announce our upcoming project we've been planning for a while. But let me play the ad, and then we'll explain after the ad. Let's touch the ad for everybody.
Nice.
Nope, sorry, that's not the ad. That's the poster. My bad.
Hey you, yes you, the Library Agenda presents The Voice of Library for male and female vocalists 21 years and under from Library and environs. Over $7,500 in cash and prizes to be won. How do you take part? Post a video of yourself no longer than a minute long on the Library Agenda's Facebook page by Sunday, 25th July, of yourself singing an a cappella version of your favorite song.
All I know, loving you is a losing game.
Oh my God.
All right. So, folks, that's our upcoming project, which will be starting on the 5th of August. So, for the whole month of August, we'll be having The Voice of Library. It's a talent show for vocalists, male and female, for people from Library and environs. Yes, you 2 point. We do ever leave you out. So how it's designed is going to be the 4 weeks of August. So all our 4 episodes for the Library Agenda will be The Voice of Library. So folks, we're going to be touching the entertainment. They know we are about the youths. That's why we designed to be 21 years and under. We have over more than close to $7,500 in cash and prizes. So we're going to have our best or brightest artists on the inside for the whole month of August. So for those who might have noticed before, that yes, Trini Maki, I see you get excited one time. Whole night Trini Maki see I whole night. She say, "Oh yes, well done, thank you." So the queen on the inside saying we're on the right track. So for the 4 weeks in August, you're going to be seeing artists. Some of you might have noticed already. Our Facebook group and our Facebook page is locked off, so you know we don't have no problem with your advertising, but we want to leave it for the artists, and we only want to focus on this project for the month of August. So look forward. We will be having our normal interviews for the next 2 weeks before the month of August starts. But for the month of August, you'll be seeing me and Chef in shirt and tie and tuxedo for the artists on the inside. So it's really going to be an exciting project. Every week we're going to be keep releasing ads. We're going to post the ad in the WhatsApp Facebook group tonight. We're going to be posting the performances on Facebook. One of the features of this competition is that during the competition, we're going to allocate some parts of the points or score towards the artist from the home studio audience. So you're going to have your say to that degree. We're going to have professional judges on the inside who are going to carry the bulk of the judging, but you're going to have your say on who and what you like. I see Ding saying she can't wait to sing. Yes, we will have nights where we will be allowing guest artists on the inside. We will definitely Ding, as one of the executive producers, going to put on a performance first, and she can't wiggle out of it now. So the people say the one thing, they're going and get Ding. Yeah, I said? Hey, look, Trini Maki says she done Pakistan. Yes, yeah, Pakistan, come and give a guest performance, Your Majesty. So, folks, I want to play the ad again, because I really want us to get the idea what's going on. So let's play the ad again, because this is going to be really big, and it's really important to us at Library Agenda, developing our talent. Because now only our sports and finance and work and thing, we also know we have the artists, the creators on the inside. Also, our jazz cream is one of the big part is involved in this project. So we have our best and our brightest involved, right? So
hey you, yes you, the Library Agenda presents The Voice of Library for male and female vocalists 21 years and under from Library and environs. Over $7,500 in cash and prizes to be won. How do you take part? Post a video of yourself no longer than a minute long on the Library Agenda's Facebook page by Sunday, 25th July, of yourself singing an a cappella version of your favorite song.
Oh,
So, folks, we're going to be pushing that really heavy for the next couple of weeks on the Labra agenda. All right. So, also, we want to thank this logo was designed first by Miss Aclitia Gomez. Miss Aclitia Gomez, we want to thank her for all the work we put in. We have a lot of people working behind the background. And as we go along, we're going to get them recognition because, we all believe in Guinea roses while you're alive on the Labra agenda. So, Ghost, don't worry, you'll get a chance to design something too. Don't worry, come into your Ghost. Don't feel really out. But we want to thank Miss Aclitia Gomez for being so gracious as to help us design the logo for the Voice of Labra. All right. Also, we have a lot to talk about tonight, but we're trying to squeeze it in. The Male Labra Football Academy. We are proud to announce that from Monday, 19th of July, we're going to be having our very first, and probably one of the first in the world, an online football academy. It's going to be running for 1 hour. We have children who have already been enrolled, but we are going to put it out in the main screen. Anybody want to enroll can contact us for further information. You can contact me as per usual at 716-3283. I'm going to put up my number there. I forgot to put up my message. Here we go. You can WhatsApp me at 716-3283 for further information. It's on the Maiden Lobby Football Academy's Facebook page to get more information. We're going to be having an online football academy because at the end of the day, we sort of meet the COVID-19 regulations, but we sort of make sure they still cry on. The kids are home, we like to get them active. So we have created a magnificent product so that we can keep the kids busy and still adhere to the COVID-19 regulations. It's going to be great exercise, great fun for the kids. You'll see more in our next show next week, Thursday Gospel Live. We're going to reserve some more time to speak about the Voice of Labra and the Football Academy. And look on the page. We're going to upload a lot of information tonight on it, right? So log in there. So also, we have a lot to talk about. We have Miss Kellyanne. Her number is 399
339.
Oh, sorry. Good job. 339 5872. Let me put up the information. I'm going to read it for you. What happened? She is involved with an independent church of God from Africa. But their sister church is the Rafa Center. That's in the Silver Street in Brea here.
Yeah.
They are having BBS, the Bible Vacation Studies. And they have some space and they want to invite 8 to 10 youth from Brea to come and take part, So you can contact her this phone number if you are interested in your child to be enrolled in some BBS over the holidays. All of we went Bible Vacation Studies as children, so we have good for me. And we know how the thing goes, so everybody going virtual right now. So until better can be done. So contact her at 339 5872. So we always say if you didn't get your information on the past on, it shows on Facebook, it's on YouTube. Folks log in on the YouTube station. Help us build the YouTube channel because trust me, this is going to be here for forever. As long as YouTube there, we're going to be here. So just like Gael, who has an archive of all transcendental information and culture, Labra agenda where Labra people talk.
Labra business, you don't know.
Going to be archived forever. So get on the show, get involved. This is how we build community, folks. Chef, I think that's it in terms of the announcement. I know it was kind of quick. We didn't mean to rush it, but the moment was captivating tonight. So we all do that, So let me touch just some comments and then we'll go into the British shout out, Chef. Or you have something to touch one time, Chef?
Nah, let me go in the comments. I'm laughing right through it with Trini Mackie and Renee.
All right, so we had stopped off at right. Khalifa was saying no, she didn't. Right, Renee was the last comment we took on. When she said, "Great show as usual, guys." Thanks, Renee.
Thank you, Renee.
Betty Jeremiah, she's saying good night all. We have Deborah Sutton saying very informative show. Well done, guys. Thanks.
Thanks,
this was the on because we had more information to come. We have Fab saying I want to visit the Kwame Tourist Center sometimes. I would ask the Priscilla and I'll tell the folks and you can contact the Black Agenda organization to make appointments to go up there. It's a good visit. There's a lot of posters of information. It's really something to take in. Betty is saying the man have brains that is not touched yet. Good night, brother Mohammed. They say tell me to listen, and she say listen for herself. The Abajana saying Fab road trip.
Who say road trip?
Yeah, like the Abajana go up in a big way, man. I ain't afraid that. With the greetings going on to Dr. Mohammed's wife.
Yeah. From
Betty, also from the Labra Agenda. Renee is saying the power of creating wealth. Yes, Renee. She also said human resource.
Mm-hmm.
Pap saying the human resource is the most valuable resource. We need to recognize this. Well said, Pap.
Fast. Recognize it fast.
Yep. Betty saying well said, brilliant, Dr. Mohammed. Goose is saying I enjoyed this, and coming from Goose, that's a big compliment.
Stay woke.
Wow.
Stay woke.
We get you.
Stay woke.
So the thing is saying I'm doing 1 hour. She's speaking about the book. I believe it. Well, we make arrangement, go on and look for it, or we can see if we can get it there, or better yet, we can buy it and come try and get it. So can't you open back Monday? Or I say like books with it here. Trini Mack is saying, oh yes, well done. Speaking about the Labra agenda's upcoming show, The Voice of Library. But our upcoming, I want to say Labra, I mean Library. We always say Library, not the thing. Right. So Ding said, I know you singing. Yeah, we had to bring Shia. I mean, guess artist, man. Renee saying, green initiative, Labra agenda. Thank you, Renee. Trini Mack is saying, you seen that I don't start practicing. By the way, folks, most people have asked how they can help the Labra agenda in the past. Here we can help us. We need to get cash and prizes. We have spoke to some sponsors and we're scraping. But every little cent helps. So if you can contribute $5, we will be very grateful. If you can contribute 10,000, very, very grateful. So folks, contact us, myself, chef, whatever, to make contributions towards this project. We actually need it. We begging. We need the help to get it in a particular way. Not just prizes, and we also need technical stuff to be done, and behind the scenes. Most of you don't understand where it comes from. So every and all contribution, even technical help, like Trini Mac, you get artists and stuff like that, and also once the country opens back up in a particular way, we can give some of the kids some technical advice. We could do it online, offline. So we'll be contacting you very soon. So I'm glad you're so interested. Yes, you see that I don't start practicing. Yes, practice.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, it's 21 and under. So Trini Mac, I know you look like you're in your teens still, but really and truly,
And just to clarify the 21 and under, if you are turning 22 anytime before the end of August 2021, then you can't take part. So you can turn 22 in the month after August, October, you're inside. Because 21 and under during the competition. That's to clarify that. But for any information you want to clarify and ask about the show, contact us. You call me on my number 716-3283. We have Ding saying I can't wait to sing. Yes, then we can't wait to hear you. Renee saying no, as I guess not opposite. Well done, Renee, push it, please. Trini Mac saying Trini Mac, you're wicked. And Renee to Trini right about you're wicked. How you do
wicked?
Trini Mac is saying Renee, you're fighting me though. Trini Mac, the queen girl. Yes, we agree to Renee. They're going to get Chi Jones, man. We have Anne Marie. Edward saying my hometown, I can't wait. Yes.
No, Anne Marie. That's how Anne Marie. I never see Anne Marie comment on the show, but I know David Mohammed. Anne Marie was always one of the conscious. When I tell you conscious, was always one of the conscious youths ever since she was small. Her whole family. So big up to the Edwards and big up to Anne Marie. Thanks for coming to the show, Anne Marie. Thanks for watching.
Well, we have gotten our first donation toward the show. Okay, this mosquito here. Yes. Ghost is saying donating a tattoo, LOL. And Ding saying, stop begging, boss. God is on it. Boy, say no more. And we are here, Ding, and we want to applaud Ghost Tattoo and his daughter also by saying, tattoo by 500, me or my youth inside. So we have one of the first packages inside the Labra agenda for the show. Tattoo inside. Boy, Trini Mac approves. Yes, man, Travis. So, folks, let's touch on the chef. Pull up your birthday greetings. I'll pull up the quote of the day. Yes, now what we're saying is the quote of the day we chose today is this: no matter your social status, how powerful you feel you are, we are all equal. We came here by birth and will leave in death. I'm gonna say it again. No matter your social status or how powerful you feel you are, we are all equal. We came here by birth and we will live in death. I think that's more than self-explanatory as the one. Chef, you have any birthday shout-outs in the meantime? I'm gonna pull up
yes, man. Today we must big up CK Samlal, really Kenyan Samlal, my brother. Big up.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, Paddy, Anthony Padmore, big up yourself. Blessings on your birthday. I don't know if we mentioned Celestia last week, but Celestia celebrated her birthday. So, of course, special shout out to the youth agenda on the library agenda.
Yes, man.
Big up yourself. Lean Trinity, right, Kylie? Kylie's sister, Arlene.
Yeah.
She celebrated
Aline.
her birthday this week. Yeah. So, blessings to her. Tomorrow we have Charlene Wolf. Charlene Wolf left Liberia, but she's still a librarian at heart. Scheme born. So big up Charlene. I know we don't leave out point. Big up Stella, Kevin Stella Cola, aka Ida Hands. Birthday coming up. Big up Vicky. Big up Tashana, the Chatham Posse. Ray Hamilton, aka Sugar, coming up next Tuesday.
Ah, boy.
Also Daniel Chinwing, he was here tonight on the show, coming up next Tuesday. So big up. That's what I have on this side, Callum. I know we like to keep it library, but how to big
Yeah,
up
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the peeps.
Well, the first birthday big up I have not a lab. One is Luan and Mirage. That is one of the biggest Game of Thrones fans in Toronto. I am a big Game of Thrones fan, and we became friends. She's one of the suppliers that used to come to treat my HSC from oh gosh, advance. So I want to say happy birthday to you. But I call she Queen Daenerys. You know, happy birthday, Khaleesi. You know, when does Cyrus birthday today, aka Sayo boy,
Nice.
Malaka. Sayo to his body, oh bunch of lover. Happy birthday, my friend. We have Chad Daramat. For who don't know who Chad Daramat is, Red Card Chad. That's a whole football blog. He used to play football for Bethany. Happy birthday, Chad. Well, I also had Sam Lang. Happy birthday, King.
Right.
Keon Bridgewater, boy. As for security, boy. Big up yourself, Keon. Happy strong King.
Easy, Bridgie.
Point 41, but she's in the United States right now. Alana Edwards. Old Anna Ling. Old Anna. Happy birthday, Red man. 2 days ago, we had Raphael Tiller. He's from Ruslack. He's the guy who's always been in papers for Guardian Insurance.
Right.
Always come and get him for a year. The man is a celebrity in the world right now. And he's one of us right now. Ruslack, Library again.
We big enough.
Hey, take one Rodriguez, aka the man of the corner there, boy. Happy birthday to my friend Take One. Happy and strong. Dave Daniel, the old chest loving bastard. Happy birthday. Oh, by the way, who don't take one talking about drummer, we talking about the whole drummer right at the corner there. Happy birthday, my friend.
Nice.
We are coming up on Saturday. We are Kibo, EMT Kibo. Oh, Kibo, happy birthday in advance, my friend.
Big up.
And that's about it. Oh, hey, Perry Young boy, Perry Younger brother Kerwin, he's on Sunday. And as we say, Sugar Ray, it's Tuesday, Don on Scott is Monday.
Hey, done on, boy.
I mean, so big up yourself, everybody on the body. And of course, on the screen today is Christian Marshall, Rennie and Sammy's son. Today's Christian's birthday. Happy birthday, Christian.
Blessings.
He's one of our shining young stars in library. Continue growing as beautiful as you are, my friend. And how could I not mention Marshall #1, the library agenda, Celestial Marshall birthday was on the 13th, 2 days ago. Happy birthday, my love. Continue making your father proud, your family proud. And you ain't getting too big from the jack off when you don't put yourself. Still love you. Yeah, that's so.
19
happy birthday,
is 19, 19, all right?
Yeah, well, she's 19. A big woman.
Wow. All the best in the exam, Celeste.
Just about 2 days ago, I started to Greek. I remember bed from this child, but we go talk about another time. And of course, it was mentioned tonight. We want to also extend our birthday greetings to Dr. Muhammad's wife, Miss Muhammad. Happy birthday, ma'am. I hope you keep your husband away too long. You know, so let's wrap up a couple quick comments going on here. To the Max saying happy birthday, guys. We have Kenny Rogers in New Jersey. Oh, today's his birthday, Chinese. Happy birthday, Chinese, man. You know, you've been going through a tough time last couple of days, Chinese, but it's not among the living and you know, pal, we with you. Happy birthday. I'm looking forward to seeing you very soon. The number class, you say next on show, guys.
Respect,
Renee said happy birthday to celebrants, and Renee said happy birthday to Celeste. And so, last one, stay safe, guys. And good note to end the show. And Deborah Sutton, lock it up and stay safe, guys.
Thank you, Debbie.
Yeah. Was you out there, my friend?
Yeah, well, tonight was a blessing, boy. Wow. Gems after gems. There's a show you really have to go back and look at the show again and internalize, take notes, go back with a notepad or something. We must thank Dr. Muhammad for coming here and then putting into our minds the consciousness that we need for the knowledge shared. Big up Sammy Marshall, same way I seen the fire. Yeah, so tonight was
Yeah,
a
man.
wonderful show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So well done to the team. Well done to all involved. The voice of Library. Stay tuned. Comment a screen near you.
Well, Labra again is your body fire marshal. And you know me, as always we mentioned, you could have been anywhere else. You choose to spend your time with us, and we really, really appreciate it. We want to extend our blessings and our profound thanks to Dr. David Mohammed. The brother came and shared some gems of information as I posted. Food was shared and knowledge tonight. Come and eat, come and eat. You can go back on Facebook on the Labra Agenda's page to review the show. You can also go to our new YouTube station and you'll get the show there. We're going to post it very soon. And don't forget our upcoming projects. First of all, the Maiden Lobby Football Academy, our virtual camp, which will be starting on Monday, 19th of July 2021.
I must interject and congratulate you on that, Callum, as you say. Possibly the first in the world. This was a real good initiative. Cause watch me, them youths need it. There's some children here every day. We bored. So kudos to you, bro, and all the best on this camp. Excellent initiative. Keep up the good work, brother.
I can't take all the kudos. I want to thank TGU as our main sponsor. Also want to big up Trisha Williams to helping us with that, making that connection. We have, as always, the man Samik on the inside who works with us. We have Indonesia, one of our coaches. We even have from the Constitutional Lobby, we live in Samuel Dexter Cyrus is going to be one of the coaches on board.
What?
You know, so we're going to thank,
the Invisible
Ms. Gomez also doing a lot around. So we have a big team who working really hard to get this project to come up.
Nice.
Because that one man show, you know, I might be the ugly face I might see in front, but we have a lot of people who work on this project and we're definitely going to be successful. You know? So yeah. Once again, we thank everybody for logging in, and also the Voice of Lobby. Don't forget, folks, is a talent competition for vocalists. 21 years and under is going to be starting the 5th of August. We encourage everybody who's interested to send your demo tape to 716-3283. That's 716-3283 via WhatsApp. I'm going to post it on the Labra Agenda page, and the top 20 artists are going to be moved on to our first preliminary round, which will be started the 5th of August. Over 7,500 prizes. We already have one of our first business people stepped up. Ghost Andrea stepped up for those who into tattoos. He's offering a $500 hamper package of tattoos. So you already start up if you want to get a ink. You know, nice little tattoo on your, you need to put a tattoo. The voice of Labra on your shoulder, you get you live, you know. So that's going to be fantastic. So we encourage you, look forward to the information which is going to come at you fast and furious. And guys, continue making Labra Agenda the success. We've gone at easy 2 hours tonight. I even feel like 2 hours gone. Too blink. I feel like we are here 5 minutes. So guys, we're going to close up again. And thanks for coming on, logging on. We're going to close up with the Labra Agenda. So be a fire marshal, then you know me and the man chef.
In the building.
Labra Agenda, we allow people talk.
Labra business.
We gone.
Out.
Hey you, yes you, the Labra Agenda presents The Voice of Library for male and female vocalists 21 years and under from Library and environs. Over $7,500 in cash and prizes to be won. How do you take part? Post a video of yourself no longer than a minute long on the Labra Agenda's Facebook page by Sunday, 25th July, of yourself singing an a cappella version of your favorite song.
All I know, loving you is a losing game.
Oh my God.
You gone.